Superheroes Secret Wars was released in 1984, and people, like me, are still banging on about it to this very day. To tie in with the series, and a range of action figures, Leaf released a sticker album in the United States. This was an interesting item, but really seems to be a tie-in by name only. The stickers within it bore painted images, but they represented pretty much every superhero and villain you could think of, whether they were on Battleworld or not. Sticker album specialists Panini released a corresponding album in the UK, bizarrely in 1986. This was over a year after the original series had finished in the US. The UK was a bit different though. British readers experienced the Secret Wars via Marvel UK's reprints. They only began in April of 1985. The reprint series ended with issue 31 in February 1986, and the sticker album came out even after that. So the timing was seriously off, but the product wasn't. For once, it seems that the British version of a Marvel product is actually better than the American. Trust me, I'm as shocked as you are. This is the cover to the American album. And here is the British one. Yeah, exactly. That American one was a bit lackluster, wasn't it? But this one, wow. This is what Secret Wars is all about. But that is only the beginning. Where the American album was a who's who of the Marvel Universe, this one is actually tied tightly to the Secret Wars storyline. Look, I'll show you. Look familiar? Okay, none of the stickers in this book are painted, but we have the beginning of the story very much as it was presented in the series, using the original artwork. Yeah, unfortunately, I've got 2 stickers missing from this album. Never mind, eh? We have the heroes lined up, their ensemble arrival. Yes, the order's different, and actually there are other tweaks here and there, such as the villain's arrival, where Galactus has been repositioned, but overall it's the same, with exactly the same characters. The Beyonder has turned red, but here we go. Battleworld is created, and the constructs are dispersed there. A great portrait of Cap to have as a sticker. This image of Reed in the series is him spying the villains. Here he has spotted alien life forms, and the villains are moving in to make contact with them. That makes perfect sense in relation to what is to come, because now the album brings us completely new material and adventures. The setup of the wars themselves is very different. It's less about the large group of heroes, with or without the X-Men, taking on the large group of villains. Instead, the heroes split up into teams to fight it out in smaller skirmishes. Like here in the Frozen Land, home of the Ice People. Now, don't expect stories with any depth here. After all, it is a sticker album, and the tales do feel more kid-friendly. Not that the series wasn't. The Enchantress, Ultron and the Absorbing Man are already within the Ice People's city, whilst the Avengers are dealing with the less than friendly inhabitants outside. Who do you think the artist is on these extra scenes? If you know your 1980s Marvel artists, and if you're a regular viewer of this channel, then I don't doubt that you do, then you'll be familiar with him. Have a think, and I'll let you know later on. Once I tell you, you'll kick yourself. Each of the Avengers get to show off what they can do, although, have you noticed that Captain America is absent? He is busy elsewhere, as you will see. Once victorious, the Avengers are told that the Ice People attacked them because they thought that they were there to steal their Sub-Zero machines, without which their city would melt. Naturally, it's the villains who are attacking the Sub-Zero machines? Not sure what the point is there. I guess that's why they're baddies. The Enchantress uses the freezing power of the machines to... Oh, hold on. I've got this one. Hold on. Oh, this was always the trick, wasn't it? Come on. Come on. Line it up. Line it up. Perfect. So where was I? Oh yes, the Enchantress uses the freezing power of the machines to encase the Avengers in ice. But the Ice People, in a bold, self-sacrificing move, destroy the Sub-Zero machines, robbing the Enchantress of their power and enabling the Avengers to bust loose. As predicted though, this also means that the Ice City melts. But what was that the Beyonder said? Defeat your enemies and all you desire shall be yours. With the Avengers victorious, the Wasp wishes that the Ice City be restored. And soon it is shining bright once more, even though we can only see half of it. Don't the other Avengers get wishes too? No, because we need to whisk off to our next destination on the Patchwork Planet. In the series, the Lizard quickly left the other villains to make a life for himself in the swamp. Well, he has done that here too. But this time he has managed to become the ruler of a tribe of lizard people. Although it has helped that Kang the Conqueror has hypnotised these savage swamp dwellers. Doc Ock is the final member of this triumvirate of evil. And who are they going to face off against? None other than the X-Men. Along with Magneto. That's interesting. I've only just realised that although, as in the series, Magneto materialised with the heroes, not the villains, the discussions around that have been completely overlooked. I thought it was an interesting concept that the Beyonder should judge one of the most infamous villains on Earth as a hero because of his convictions and motivation. The mutants attack with the intention of freeing the lizard people. So, again, everyone gets to show off their powers. But that isn't the most significant development on this page. Here we see Rogue flying at the lethal lizard, but he thinks that he's never seen such a beautiful woman. Do you think the Wasp would be jealous? Kang is that rarity in this album as someone who actually gets more to do than in the original series, where his most notable action was dying. Here he has a few tricks up his generous sleeves, such as a force field to frustrate his attackers, and a nullity net that not only traps the X-Men, but drains them of their powers too. However, in this instance, love overcomes hate, as the Lizard, enraged at seeing Rogue imprisoned, attacks Kang, who drops the nullity net device, thus freeing the heroes. But what now? The Lizard issues a high-pitched cry. But what does this mean? We will find out after this break, as we now get 4 glossy pages that can double as pin-ups. These feature action scenes starring most, but not all, of the characters. Here, the stickers aren't in their usual rectangular shape, but in the shape of the characters themselves. A nice bit of variety. Back to the swamp, and we see that the Lizard's cry is nothing for the heroes to worry about, but it is for the villains, as he commands his lizard tribe to chase them out of town, the village, whatever. The Lizard then, awkwardly, asks Rogue to stay and be his queen, but she has a better idea. Now this panel is the epitome of this artist's work. Okay, I shall reveal all. The inker is Joe Rubinstein, and the penciler is no less than Ron Frenz. Yeah, you can see it now, can't you? You won't stop being able to see it from now on. So the art in this wasn't by some nobody trying to emulate the house style of Marvel. It was a bona fide Marvel artist. Him and Mike Zeck, of course, for those earlier panels. Or is it? Let's take another look at them. We're all familiar with these images, aren't we? So we know that they were in issue 1 of the series. But look closer. It's the same composition of characters doing, basically, the same thing. But subtle changes in expression or the exact position of limbs show that this isn't Mike Zeck's work at all. Again, it's Ron Frenz, giving us his version of the originals. This lineup, at first glance, it's the same as the original, but again, subtle differences. Especially noticeable is the Thing, and She-Hulk has some kind of bikini on. Also, no Lockheed. Some of these panels are remarkably similar to the originals. For example, when you look at the size and positioning of the various planets here. But they aren't the originals. They are entirely new versions of them, not even swipes. Sometimes you have to wonder why they changed what they changed. For example, what was wrong with having Spidey air skiing behind the Hulk? And why was the Thing and Professor X put on the Rock? The Thing has to double the weight that Iron Man is carrying, surely. Anyway, here are some of Ron's original artwork, signed by the man himself. Nice one, Ron. Now they aren't mint. Sorry, Lizard. I promise I won't interrupt your story again. There isn't much left of it anyway. Rogue uses her wish to turn the lizard back into his human form. Look at that, pure Ron Friends. She also presumably asked for his missing arm to grow back. And we have a nice happy ending to the X-Men's encounter. No alien species in this next one, just a couple of Marvel A-listers squaring off against the boring wrecking crew in the City of Glass. What could possibly go wrong? Look at this. A sloppy job at the sticker factory means you have to choose to have the edge of the stickers line up or the image. You can see what I chose. This is different. British comics always loved including puzzles, and here you go. Work out which characters will make it to the city's heart of glass first. The odd thing here is that all of the villains' possible routes end in dead ends. But you can choose either the Hulk or Spider-Man, and they do have routes to the centre. That puzzle was also part of the storyline, as we are told that Spidey and the Hulk got to the heart of glass first and are preparing to defend it from the villains. I've always found the wrecking crew a bit boring, because it's 4 guys all with basically the same powers. As you would expect, those powers are incompatible with a city made of glass, and the crew live up to their name. Hit someone, Hulk! The sound of the heart weeping stops everyone in their tracks, although the crew respond by then shattering it. Those meanies. This results in the whole city melting. Sorry, wrong storyline. Shattering. That crosses a line for Spidey, and he wraps all 4 foes in a ball of webbing, which the Hulk then tosses into the lower atmosphere. The heroes have won. You know what that means. And one selfless wish later, the city is back to its former glory. Now we return to more familiar ground, although only just. Galactus is busy with his world-devouring machine, and only the Fantastic Four can stop him. Bearing in mind it took all of the heroes combined to attack him in the series, and even then they just drove him away rather than actually defeat him, this is going to be a tall order. Oh yeah, the Molecule Man is helping to protect him too. Easy peasy. The Molecule Man has no real issues dealing with the FF, all whilst Galactus is busy with his machine. The caption here states that the 3 members of the Fantastic Four hurl themselves at Galactus's machine. Similarly to Magneto, the lack of explanation here as to why there are only 3 members of the team could be a real head-scratcher for anyone not knowing the background to the series. Molecule Man threatens to turn them all into mice. The jury's out on this one. Indeed, he could turn them into mice, but it was only towards the end of the series that he found out that he could control living molecules. Until then, he believed he couldn't. He only discovered that because Doom, with the Beyonder's godlike powers, was able to discern it, and told him. What I'm saying is, the Molecule Man shouldn't be aware that he could turn them into mice. It's a moot point really, as Galactus hits him with his eye beams to call an end to the battle. Big G explains, that machine is not his world-eating machine, although it looks a hell of a lot like it. It is actually a molecule magnifier. He constructed it so that he could show the Molecule Man the destruction he causes to the civilizations living on each of those molecules whenever he uses his powers. Galactus is doomed to destroy worlds. The Molecule Man chooses to. Molecule Man is aghast at this, and says that he will use its powers more carefully in the future. So, who won the battle? Galactus did, and he uses his wish to free himself of his world-consuming hunger, as the Fantastic Four walk off with a hopefully reformed Molecule Man. Remember I said that Captain America was busy elsewhere? Well, he was, taking on Doctor Doom. He doesn't face him alone for long though, as the returning heroes join him for the final battle. As with the series, he has stolen the Beyonder's power, although he hasn't had the accompanying high-tech makeover. He has the Beyonder's power, but what is that compared to the combined might of Earth's heroes? Nothing. Be they mental blasts, light beams, optic beams, repulsor rays, fire, or just a look of determination, the all-consuming attack of the heroes brings Doom to his knees. How did we defeat him when he had the Beyonder's power? Asks Professor X. Then the Beyonder himself appears, as we've never seen him before, and tells them that Doom never did have his power. He just wanted him to think that, in order to test the hero's resolve. He says that the heroes have learnt the greatest secret of all, that a true superhero does not seek power for himself, as they have shown by using their wishes to help others. For that he shall reward them, and grant their collective greatest desire, to return home. That's a bit of a cop-out, isn't it? He abducts them all, says he'll grant their greatest wish, and then says, yeah, it's for me to free you, isn't it? You don't have to be a god to do that, just a kidnapper. This is very light in terms of storyline, and there has been no space for the likes of Claw, Spider-Woman, Volcana and Titania, and, worst of all, no black suit for Spider-Man. In a lot of ways it was faithful to the source material, so it could be seen as a companion piece, something which fleshes out the hero's adventures on Battleworld that they just didn't show during those 12 issues. But then it chose very different endings for some of the characters, at least one of which, Galactus's, would have had massive repercussions in the wider Marvel universe if it were canon. Overall though, it is great fun, and amazing to think that there is this additional pseudo-comic book material that covers the most famous event in comics. I feel sorry for America for missing out on it, especially as they gave us this event in the first place.